Straight people who dated, married a closeted gay person. How did you find out they were gay? When we were 17, my best friend, I'm a straight female and he's a gay male, met the hottest guy at a party and struck up a friendship. Numbers were exchanged, MySpace friends were added, etc. etc. Before long, both my friend and I developed a big ol' mutual crush. Hot guy was straight, so soon enough I made a move and we started dating. My friend was happy for me. No jealousy at all, but he'd still often joke that one day, my boyfriend would turn and confess his love to him instead. It took 2 months. His gaydar didn't fail. My first so came out to me during our relationship freshman year. Crying and confused because I don't know how I can love you so much and still feel this way. It was a hard convo, but in the end we both love each other a lot. So being bent out of shape over the relationship wasn't more important than our friendship and helping them feel comfortable with themselves. 8 years later and they're still my very best friend. Another, not me but my friend. My friend was dating a guy in college and it didn't work out. A decade later she bumps into him on a commuter train and they get to talking. He had a wife and kids. She'd always thought they'd broken up because he was gay and in the closet. And assuming she'd been wrong, she shared this humorous anecdote with him while they talked. The next time she bumped into him, he'd acknowledged his sexuality and filed for divorce. Your friend was working with fate on that day. My mom's first marriage was to a gay man. She found out because she caught him cheating while she was away at her grandmother's funeral. They remained friends afterwards until he died in the first waves of the HIV epidemic. She sometimes remarked that, although finding out really broke her heart, she thinks they married out of college so they could move away from their parents. In that it felt safe to be with him because he didn't pressure her for anything. Fast forward a couple decades. Another marriage, the baby she always wanted, and the other death. In retrospect, my father was probably asexual, but they had a loving, companionate marriage and provided a stable home for me that I was very fortunate to have. After he died, she moved across the country in her 60s, came out as gay, and is now married to a woman. What a roller coaster. I had dated a guy for about 4 months. I caught him taking Viagra. He didn't come up with a lie. He just broke down and confessed. I guess his family was concerned that he might have been gay because he never really brought a girl around them this year, and he figured since they liked me, dating me would get them off his back. He worked up the courage to tell his family and they didn't receive it well, so they cut him off. He's currently happily married, so at least he got that. Can I get it? Not straight, but, or not gay, but, quote, I dated the most masculine guy the first had ever met. He was huge and tall, a tank. People that didn't know him were scared of him, and he wanted it to be that way. If you lived around the 518 a few years ago, you've probably seen him on the news. Before, during, and after we dated, he had severe anger issues. Impatient kind of anger issues. I'd spent night after night, for years, talking him down from hurting themselves or someone else. The final time they were at the hospital. When they got out, they cried, and said, I think I'm non-binary. Immediately things got a little bit better. And then she said she was a woman. In a non-selfish way. It was kind of a hit to the gut. I felt like I was losing the person I loved, but I believed her. So we worked it out, and it was hard at first, because I had to act like nothing was different 100% of the time, which eventually took its toll. She watched makeup tutorials. I bought her first dress, and went with her the first time she wore it in public. I tried learning how to do her hair. She was also black, and truthfully, I'd never tried to do 4C hair before, but we learned some hairstyles together as she grew hers out. I stayed for another yearish after she came out. Her anger issues literally dissolved, apart from dysphoria here and there. I haven't seen her in about 2 years. But when we stopped contacting one another, She was publishing poetry. I think she's doing pretty well now, happiness-wise. Edit. Called her hair a bomb. Lol. The pronouns alone tell a story, smiley face. We met at church in the 5th grade. In the 7th grade we dated for 1 week, and one night he called me and said he wasn't right in the eyes of God. I was like, what are you talking about? And he told me he was gay. We've been best friends for over 10 years since. Funny story actually. My wife and I, male, are both gay. We both grew up in very fundamentalist conservative Christian households. I denied to myself that I was gay my entire life, though she was a semi-outed lesbian in high school. Then she came to Jesus late in high school and became straight again. We met in college as both very conservative Christians who were both telling ourselves that we were straight. We fell in love and got married as a hetero couple. About a year and a half in, we started admitting to ourselves and each other that we were gay. Since we were so close emotionally that we were comfortable coming out to each other. For me, it was the first time I admitted to myself that I was gay. Fortunately, we still will work really well together sexually, and I wouldn't change a thing about our relationship. We have been married just over 2 years and feel authentic with ourselves and each other for the first time ever. Wait, so wouldn't it make you guys bi? I would say we're demisexual for each other. I can honestly say I have no attraction to females other than her. And I only became sexually attracted to her once I had formed a strong emotional bond with her. You guys sound like you have a great relationship, no matter what the labels are. Not me, but a close relative. Married a closet lesbian. Wife got a new job and became very buddy-buddy with another female employee. He got suspicious and installed a keystroke logger on her PC. Then confronted her about the shit she'd been iming. She wasn't just cheating, but was also talking shit about him to her mistress. Still don't know if the keystroke logger was part of why he got dicked in the divorce settlement. But it wouldn't surprise me. In a kind of funny, sad twist, their daughter has since played the part of Meatspace keystroke logger. She goes to her mother's place and hears her mother talk shit about Barry, which she has long since figured out is the code name for her father, which she then reports back to Barry. Lol, Meatspace will be the name of my new band. That's some old school internet for you. Cyberspace and Meatspace. You were never supposed to discuss one and the other. When we were kids, my friend got mocked about being gay all the time. It eventually stopped as we got to high school. My first boyfriend was a year older than me and I was still in high school when he went to uni, so we couldn't see each other all the time because of a 300+ km distance, and we didn't really know what the other one was up to. So, at the time my friend broke down and told me that he was in fact at least bi, and the whole friend group was supportive. We were joking and he downloaded Grindr. He and my BF ended up matching there. My BF sent him dick pics. Turns out he had a really sexually active life on uni. Wasn't me, but I have to say this story. His GF was giving him a BJ when he stops her mid-BJ and tells her he's gay. Epic. I believe they're on good terms now. Not 100% sure. He definitely isn't the best at choosing the perfect moment. Or is he? I'm still talking about it 17 years later. Mid-BJ. Lol, at least let her finish. Still makes me laugh. Maybe he couldn't, and that's why he blurted it out. I dated a bi girl in my youth. We were both in our early 20s. It became very clear after a week that she was not into dicks. It was like she wanted nothing to do with it other than penetration. She dated one more dude after me and has been with the same woman for over 15 years now. They are married and very happy. We are still friends, and she has admitted to me that the dating guys thing was a phase and just experimenting. Sorry if I'm getting this wrong. Not trying to be offensive or anything. But does that mean she's just lesbian? Again, genuine question. IDK what being bi or gay is like. I took the story to mean that she was out as bi when they were dating. Sounds like she's since figured out that she's not into dudes. A friend called me, to tell me that she heard my boyfriend slept with someone, the night before. Unfortunately for him, he contracted crabs from the guy. Wasn't out yet and told doctor and friends he caught crabs from me. I didn't want to be the one that outed him, so I let people think I had crabs. Damn, he could have at least said he cheated without saying anything about it being a guy rather than telling everyone it came from you. If he was not ready to come out, fine. But he could have at least spared your reputation. That's really messed up. You were insane about it? You took a tough one for a friend. I would like to be your friend. Friends like you are few and far between. I dated a guy in high school for about a month. The day we started dating, he gave me a long speech about how I might hear from other people that he's gay, but he's not. He is just good friends with gay people and he gets made fun of before that. I was outraged and totally believed him, monsieur. Then one day I got a Facebook message from a friend of a friend who said he had just found out that this guy and I were dating. Turns out he had been sleeping with my boyfriend for a couple of months now. That whole story from the first night was just his cover for why people said he was gay. Now, several years later, he's married to a straight girl and has 2 kids. Didn't see that ending coming. Well, this is related to my mom and dad. Dad was found out to be having affairs for years behind my mom's back and was threatened to my mother by his boyfriend. The boyfriend contacts me to express he is worried about my dad. Turns out, Dad fled and tried to commit suicide and ended up in a vegetative state for 3 years before dying. Who was threatened by whom? The boyfriend, a fair partner of Op's father, threatened to tell Op's mother that the father, has an affair. At least, that's how I understood it. My grandma divorced her first husband because, among other reasons, he moved his gay lover into the house. My bi-ass loves my grandma because even so she is not homophobic at all. She mentioned liking Katy Perry a lot. Like a lot. Either way, I broke up with her because I was moving. 8 years later we started gaming together. She's been exclusively dating girls since then. She told me she was 99% lesbian. I was an exception at the time. That's possible. I used to identify as a lesbian. Then I met my boyfriend. I now identify as bisexual. However, I don't think I could ever date another guy. Sexual orientation is so weird. I identify as a gay woman and I've pretty much exclusively been into women for about 7 years. But sometimes I'll meet a dude and I'll get all the crush symptoms. Think about them a lot. Want attention from them, etc. But ultimately when it comes down to the sex part, my brain is always like, no thanks. But I could totally see how you can be gay or whatever but still have some attraction towards the opposite sex once in a while. Thank you so much for watching and have a good day.